the fun part of our job is getting to wrangle the geese. My name is Nick Dockin. I'm our lead wildlife technician here in the Cordova Ranger District in Cordova, Alaska, working for the Chugach National Forest. One of my primary duties as a wildlife technician and working with our crew is focusing on our Dusky Canada goose program. The Dusky Canada goose is special because it breeds here in the Copper River Delta. The majority of the population is right here in our backyard in Cordova, and they migrate to the Pacific Northwest in Washington and Oregon in the Willamette Valley. Their population level is the smallest out of all the subspecies of Canada geese. It's a species of conservation concern for the Chugach National Forest, and so there's a lot of effort put on us here at the Forest Service working in their breeding grounds, making sure that they can have success and have good habitat to produce young and continue their population. Dusky Canada goose, it looks like all the other Canada geese, but some subtle differences. They do have a little bit darker, dusky hue to their chest. They can kind of stand out compared to some of the other subspecies, but when they're just by themselves, they're hard to differentiate. In south central Alaska, where Cordova is at, in the Copper River Delta, it's just a mosaic of wetlands. It's the largest contiguous wetland in the Pacific Flyway. It's a huge, important staging ground for a lot of the spring migrating birds. Banding is a practice that biologists and researchers have been using for decades and decades. And so it's just giving a bird a little bracelet with a specific number. That way, when that bird gets encountered again, we can read that number and tell how long that bird has survived since its last capture. And if it gets captured in a different area, we can learn and gain information on the habitat and routes and flyways that a bird uses. But the big thing is survival data. In our case, the Duskies here in Cordova work in some kind of remote country that starts off with the Alaska Department of Fish and Game lead the charge of the banding effort. They'll come and do their annual production surveys in late summer, so they have an aircraft. They go and survey the entire delta, and they're counting gosling production and just dusky numbers in general, looking for the groups of goslings and then the large molting flocks of duskies. All waterfowl will lose all of their wing feathers at once. They go flightless for a couple-week period every year, so that's when we target the goose banding, because then we can corral them into a pen. We kind of find out where the big concentrations of molting duskies are, and we'll set up a temporary little catch pen, and we'll have long leads, little fences we'll make. State biologists will get up in the helicopter, and they'll push the geese, the molting flock of geese, out of the water onto land, and slowly pushing them across land in a big group until they get close to our pen. And the rest of us that are helping out banding will be hiding in the bushes behind the pen. And as the geese get close or almost in the pen, we'll jump out of the bushes cautiously and slowly help corral those geese all the way into our temporary pen. And then once they're in, we'll close the gate, and then we'll have anywhere from 200 to 600 geese, trapped in our pen. And so we make sure that the birds are in good condition and not overstressed, and we'll put some shade up for them. But then we'll get our banding tables all set up, and everybody has a role from a data recorder recording all the band's numbers, and then we'll have someone inside of the pen kind of separating the geese in small groups inside of our big catch pen, in which we'll transport geese from the pen to the line of banders, and it's quite the production. And it's with a well experienced team, you can go through a few hundred geese, in an afternoon pretty easily, and put on the metal leg band, that will stay on there. But then also the Duskies will put a red neck collar, red with white letters, a 3-digit numerical code, put on their neck, and then we use some glue to make sure that stays on. So they get the band and the neck collar. But and then you wish them luck and hope that you get to recite them and encounter them on their wintering grounds, and read that neck collar a bunch of times throughout their life. The perk of a neck collar is you can see that red collar with the white codes from a distance, and with optics, some binoculars or spotting scope or a telephoto lens on a camera, you can read that code from a distance, and so you don't have to recapture or kill a bird to get a band report. You can recite that neck collar. They breed here on the Copper River Delta, so being the land management agency with the U.S. Forest Service, so we're involved with a lot of the breeding groundwork and habitat components. Like I said, it's the Alaska Department of Fish and Game that coordinate the actual banding and collaring efforts. And then there's the Fish and Wildlife Service. They fly spring pair surveys. And then on the wintering grounds, you have a host of partners involved down there with the state agencies down in Oregon and Washington. The Ducks Unlimited is a player, and so it's really cool to interact with these migratory species like the dusky, because just a lot of cool partnerships and friendships you build working with a species like this. It's definitely the highlight of the summer. I mean, get to do a lot of cool stuff, driving airboats and working with their Dusky Nest Island program, and seeing some of the young goslings hatch, but getting to actually get your hands on a live bird is just definitely the field biologist highlight of field work. Been working with waterfowl for going on 20 years now, and so it's fun for me sharing my passion and joy for waterfowl management and banding activities with our new interns. We've got a Ducks Unlimited sponsored Dusky internship program going on, taking someone who's never done anything like this before and kind of mentoring them and seeing their excitement, and I'm just as excited to handle the birds and be a part of it. So you can report collars to me at the office, but you can also go online to www.reportband.gov, and you can follow instructions from that website and report the neck collar code. It'll ask you when and where and your information, and then it'll send you back actually a kind of a cool little certificate you can print off on the history of that bird. Kind of a cool citizen science project.